Hello and welcome to the Day of Values. This one's a really beneficial one and I'm quite excited for this, to be honest, because values were hugely transformational for me. I'll get into some of the details around them, but I just wanted to share my experience of 5 years ago as I went through the process of understanding what was important to me and then setting on the path to align with that has made such a huge difference to my life. Because as you go through the process of recognizing what it is that's important to you, your values, what you value, that automatically creates this awareness of, okay, this is kind of the path that would be aligned with my truth. And let me look at my actions and how is that reflecting what I actually find important and where am I out of alignment? So as I went through this process for myself and started to consciously choose to do what I felt was in alignment with what I value, I really found life started to deliver experiences that were magic, for lack of a better word. For example, let's say when I recognized consciously that I was about to do something that didn't align with my values, my truth, it had so much difficulty. And that could be something simple, like let's say people inviting me out, me not really feeling completely resonant with them, but being from a people pleasing state, I should go catch up with them. And then I did it. And then it left me feeling drained. And of course, when you're not on the same wavelength with someone, that's going to leave you drained anyway. And it also wasn't in alignment with what I valued, which was authenticity, growth, trying to live by my truth. But then when I started to align my actions with my values, and that could range from micro choices of not catching up with people I felt out of alignment with, or taking action within my own life, of eating how I wanted to, of putting my focus into things that were meaningful to me, and perhaps even longer term things like study, committing to actions that were going to benefit me in the long term and align with what I valued. Within myself, it created this sense of fulfillment, like, yes, I'm on the path to where I want to be. But then also, it seemed like the experiences that were drawn to me were supporting me in moving towards that path. Like, for example, out of nowhere, there might be someone that I meet and it just was with so much synchronicity. It was exactly what I'm focusing on. It was giving me so much encouragement to keep going. Or it could be that one day I'm guided into a bookstore and I find the exact book that is speaking to me about the very thing I'm focused on. So I think when you get into alignment with your truth, it really feels like the universe, life is supporting you. And at the very least, values are a really good framework for you to understand what is your truth. Because let me just ask you now, like, what is your truth? Super vague, you could say a million things. But if you use the framework of values and go, okay, these are my top values right now. These are my core values intrinsic to me. And then you endeavor to align your actions with your top values and you try and present in the world with your core values, that's giving you a framework to break it down into actionable and understandable ways to express yourself. So basically, values are what we find important. And we could even say that they are our truth to some degree. So there's a few different types of values. Imagine a value ladder of 50 rows, and each of them have a different keyword based on what you think is more important than another. Now, within that ladder of 50, I think there's 4 different types of values. So your most important ones are your core values. These are ones that are integral to who you are, usually formed through your upbringing and pivotal experiences throughout life. These are pretty constant. They can shift, but they usually take a while to. Then it's commonly referred to as your top values. So these are the ones that are on the top of your value ladder, and they can definitely overlap with core, but not always. So these are like what you really feel is important right now. Now, I've given this some thought, and I think there's a few different ways of looking at values. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. Core and top is all you need to know, but some other ways to think about it. We could have phasic, aspirational, and interactional values. So stay with me here. Phasic would be the phase of your life, whether it's bringing up children, growing business, moving into stability. Each of those are going to create a different set of values. And that can be a healthy way to consider where you're at right now and realigning what is important with you. Because if you just think, oh, top values, it's a little harder to segment that and just think, oh, they're always constant, but maybe they're fluctuating and where's it at? Whereas if you know that there's a phase of life that you're in, and then you can work out what's important during that phase, it's going to help you align with that. So then we have aspirational. And this is closely related, but it's what you want to move towards. Because you can have your kind of current values, and then you can have what are the values that you want to bring into your life. For example, some of them might be self-mastery, consistency. You may not be embodying them right now, but that's actually what you want to be at the top of your value list. And through having this mindset of what values can you actually start to embody, you can bring them into your life and up-level yourself. And finally, interactional. So this would be in different settings. So for example, in a social setting versus a professional setting, your set of values might be completely different. In a social setting, you might value empathy, kindness, trust, friendship. Whereas in a professional setting, it might be communication, respect, excellence. And obviously you can see that in different dynamics and situations, you're going to have a different set of values. And again, bringing awareness to these is really going to be beneficial. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, I've got a few little goodies for you today. So one is an online assessment, which I've found really beneficial, because what is a common way to determine your values is through a coach or worksheet to see a list of different values and arrange them from 1 to 10 or more, what you think is more important than another. Now, the problem with that, as beneficial and insightful as it can be, you can tend to go, I would like this to be what I value rather than what you are actually valuing. So Dr. DeMartini has created this values assessment that kind of solves for that. So I've included that, but I'm also going to include a worksheet that will help you navigate through, but I've also included a worksheet that will help bring awareness to values in these different areas that I've spoken about. And even just getting a baseline of 5 values for each area is going to help so much just to understand yourself at a deeper level and help align a path basically automatically. So I'll let you have a read through the rest of the values content drop. I'll include the worksheets and a little reflective piece to share what your core values are and what's come up for you during this process.